All right, so we ran into a bit of a problem. Seems to be the going theme with this whole project, but this was actually a pretty significant one, and I'm kind of glad that it came up because I can talk about it. So, the lumber that we're using is rough cut lumber that a neighbor of ours cut down on his property and sawed it up. And when he sawed it up, a few days later, he brought it over here and we stacked it up out in front of the cabin. Now, a lot of this is spruce and fir, and what happens is if we're not using it right away, or if we're not letting it dry, it will grow mold, and that's exactly what happened. This very hot and humid and rainy weather, we've grown mold on most of the 8-foot 2x4s that we've got. Now, the way that we are going to deal with this is basically just spray it down with bleach. That'll get rid of the mold, kill it, all that fun stuff. Unfortunately, I don't have bleach right now. So, Jen is running to town. She's got a few errands to run, and she's gonna pick up a gallon of the bleach. When she gets back, we'll go ahead and spray these things down. Probably 30-45 minutes later, we'll be able to start actually, we'll clean them up, and when I say clean up, we'll basically just brush it off, and then we can go ahead and cut with it and do whatever we need to do with them. So in the meantime, I do have some lumber from previous builds, and thankfully it looks like I have enough of the 8-footers. These are actually dry, which is nice. These were in our wood rack, in our lumber rack for about a year. They don't look too twisted up. One of them bowed pretty good. I don't know if actually I'll use this one, but I'm gonna go ahead and get these cut, clean, sanded, and then get them laid out and ready for stain. Yeah. Thank God we had extra lumber. One of our piggies is taking a nap in the mud. Actually looks quite refreshing. No, it doesn't. All right, so we've got our first set of rafters stained. At least we've got the one side done, which is cool. The next step now is I want to go ahead and build this back wall. I want to pull this board off because I am going to be working up here, and it's in the way. But the only way I can do that is by getting this wall built back here. So we're going to do that. Holy smokes. So we do live on the border of Canada, and these guys fly by at least once a week. So we're gonna say hi to them. Here they come. And there they go. Yeah, we wave to them when they fly by. We try to make an effort to wave to them every time. You know, we don't know who they are individually or personally. It's the Border Patrol, and they fly up along the border. We see them, like I said, once or twice a week or so. So we do try to make a concerted effort just to say hi. Okay, so the way I build my walls is pretty simple. I take my bottom plate and my top plate and I line them up together. And then what I do is I like to mark both of them with where this 2x4 is going to go. This one here we're going to stick right in the middle, and we'll get that in a second. But this other 2x4, I want to mark this one. Alright, and then to find the middle, we're basically going to measure that out. So the total length is 56. So we're looking for 28-inch center. So pull this out, find my 28-inch mark, take my square, draw my line. Now the reason I do that on both the bottom and the top is so that when I take my top and I put it up at the top, when I go to nail in these 2x4 studs, they're lined up. Now on this, it's a small wall. I only have one piece here to line up, but the principle is the same. No matter how big your wall is, at least when I make my walls, I always mark the bottom plate and the top plate with my stud locations together. Then I take my top plate, move it up, and then I nail my wall. There's my wall. Now again, this is not load bearing. It is still going to get nailed into the floor framing, and then we're going to nail it to this wall. The whole idea of this is really to keep this wall plumb and also provide us with a little barrier. So it's also important to note that the outside will have some sheeting on it all the way around. So yeah, cool. All right, so we have our back wall installed. I am going to be adding a brace here, but I'm going to have to do that later. I have my reasons for doing it later. We'll talk about that when the time is right. But for now, back wall is done. At least the framing. All right, well, let's move on to the rafters. So I did find another 8-footer, so I'm going to go ahead and get this puppy cut. And once this guy here is cut, then we'll stain some more. So it is kind of beautiful over here, but when we start looking over into Canada, man, that is ugly. As a matter of fact, on the radar, that right there is just a torrential downpour. And these clouds are just massive. The good news is at least the weather app shows that it's all going to stay in Canada, over in New Brunswick. And it's going to be like this over here. I just hope it doesn't bring any rain, because I've got my rafters done. I've got to let them cure for a little while longer, but then I got to start getting them up here. I don't know if you can hear that. That is some massive thunder over there. Oh boy, I really hope this comes through on this video. Yeah, that was some pretty big thunder. All right, well, I gotta get the boys in because they've been out for a little while. It's kind of hovering underneath the new porch. It's really hot, it's really humid. Witco, home. Witco, home. God, these are good dogs. Look at that. Good boys. Actually, they just want the AC. Boy, I really need to get some stairs on this thing. That's for sure. That the rafters are stained and they are drying. The next step really is to mark out where my rafters are going to be sitting. The way I'm doing this is this wall is parallel with the cabin. So that kind of gives me an idea of where to start so that I make sure that each rafter is perpendicular to the cabin. Now this is important because all of the center rafters that are going to be sitting on this wall are not going to be attached to the wall itself. So only rafters that we're attaching this year is this end and then the far end at the behind the camera. Now the reason we're doing this is pretty simple. During frost heave, when the ground is thawing in the spring, I need to know if this porch is going to shift and move. We are doing everything we possibly can to keep the frost from underneath the porch. But if for some reason this coming winter we're not able to do that, or the precautions that we put into place fail for some reason, this porch will shift. And when the porch shifts, I don't want any damage to the cabin. So the idea here is that the two ends will kind of act as an anchor. Everything else will be able to move. Now, when we put our rafters up, we are going to put furring strips. The furring strips are going to tie the roof all together. But if this porch does move, we should be able to see it, see the rafters, or at least see the roof begin to twist, which is kind of what we want, or what we will be expecting to happen. Tie everything into place. If this porch moves, I run the risk of ripping out the header off of the cabin, and I don't want to do that. So I'd rather have the porch do whatever it's going to do with frost heave, if frost heave does happen, and then I can reassess it next spring and make whatever adjustments I need to make. I'll attach these with hurricane brackets when the time comes. Now, if we have no frost heave under this porch in the spring, then I'll probably go ahead and attach them. That'll tell me that, you know, our precautions worked, or our measures worked to prevent the frost from getting under here. So, but we got to play it by ear, and to be safe, you know, that's why we're just not going to attach them. But again, we are attaching the two on the ends. So the first side we're going to do is the wall side. Basically, we're putting all of our rafters 24 on center. Because we did the 2x6 top plate and 2x4 side plate, I'm not so concerned with putting the rafter on top of these studs. It's going to be close, but it may not be completely on it because of the way I align the wall to the cabin. All right, let's mark it. All right, let's hang some rafters. So if you're wondering why I'm putting these little 2x4 pieces up first, it's because typically I would use a 2x6 rafter and header board. However, because we're using 2x4s, I just don't have enough wood to put enough pigtails in, at least that I'm comfortable with. So this way, we're going to attach the 2x4. I'm going to put 2 screws in from the side into this 2x4, and then one through the top of the rafter. So having those 3 anchor points should do the trick. I am exhausted. It is really, really hot. Oh, I'll tell you, you know, this lifestyle is not for the faint of heart. A lot on our homestead. We've worked our butts off. When I look around, I got so much more to do too. But you know, what can you do? You just keep plugging away at it, one day at a time. Take breaks when you know, when you need to. And yeah. Before you start critiquing me, let me just remind you, I've never done this before. I'm getting better at building stuff, but I've never done anything like this. As a matter of fact, you guys have seen my last 2 small porches that I built, the one that was on the back porch here and the one that we're still using today in the front porch. So boy, I'll tell you. Anyways, I'm very happy with the way it's turned out. It is going to take some maintenance during the winter time. We're certainly going to want to clean this off, make sure that it stays clean as much as possible. Yeah, just because, you know, I just want to make sure that it stays clean. What do you think, hon?
I think it looks good.
Hey, check this out. I shaved, got a haircut, and you got a haircut.
I did.
Yeah.
Mine's a little bit longer than yours.
Yours is a little bit longer.
But
Yeah.
I gotta cut short because it's hot.
It's so hot.
It's hot.
It's miserable. It's so miserable. All right. Well, I am not done. Far from it. So the next step is the furring.